video. The first one's called Mystery Door. So this is just one of those typical out of body experiences. Becoming consciously aware while in sleep paralysis, and getting out of body with an out of body exit technique. And then in this one, I went through the door of my bedroom, went down the hallway. About halfway down the hallway, all of a sudden there's this like out of place large door on the hallway wall. It's like metal, kind of looked like it was made out of iron, and it had these huge hinges like on it, and it was really tall, all the way up to the ceiling. So as you guys might know, when you get out of body in your house, you do see your home, the physical aspects of your house. It's very mirrored. It's almost like a duplicate, but sometimes there's like little small little differences compared to reality. But so whenever you see something like this, like a huge door out of nowhere, then you can't help but to be curious about it, and go through the door, see what it is. So I went through the door, and then I walked into like how I would describe a labyrinth of different hallways, like a maze of hallways, but like inside like a large house or like hotel. And I started getting really anxious, and I started freaking out a little bit because I kind of felt like I was stuck in all these hallways, this maze of hallways. And there was a lot of mirrors on the walls and stuff like that. I just couldn't find a way out, because when I'm out of body, and I get into some kind of like underground structure or any kind of house or some kind of building, I like to get out of those structures because I feel like I have more power, more energy, and I can just kind of see my environment, soak my environment in even more if I'm not like stuck inside something. So I was getting really frustrated and scared. And then there's all these doors, right? In these hallways, there's all these doors, just regular little doors. And at first I was walking by all of them, not really wanting to, go through those, thinking that I would go into some like more of a deeper maze, but I finally just got really curious, and I started to just kind of poke my my head and upper part of my energy body while I was out of body, like poking it just inside each of the doors to see where they lead to, thinking, okay, well maybe one of these doors are a way out of here, right? So the first door, I looked through it, and from what I remember, it's just like this, looks like an old New York apartment, like from the 30s, 40s. It's just like a studio kind of apartment with like a balcony, and outside you can see big buildings, and it looked like very New York-like. And there's an old lady, maybe in her 80s, and she's just sitting in this chair, and she's reading a newspaper. And I get curious, and I want to see what this newspaper is. And so I kind of go up to her, and she does not see me or anything. Like, she doesn't sense that I'm there. She doesn't visibly acknowledge that I'm there. And I look at the paper, and it's a paper about World War II, and the war and all the stuff, tanks, planes, and then like it said like 19 something, 40 something on there on the newspaper, and so it was just so weird, it was just weird how this old lady person couldn't like hear me or see me or anything, and so I go back into the hallway, and then I go to the next door. And the next door is just like a bunch of like kids like playing with like toys and stuff, and like there's like slides and things. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to go in there, or whatever, And so I left that room, and then the next room, it was like a little, like a kind of like a group of little beings, on these long, short little long tables, and they looked like they were like running different science experiments and stuff like that. No idea what they were doing. I was like, okay, I don't want anything to do with that. So I just went, back into that hallway, and I kept going. There was a couple other rooms. Like one of the rooms, when I went into it, it was just a series of like different houses, and then they're just like vacant, empty houses, and you go into one. And then you go through like the front door, and it goes just into like a whole other house, and it just happened, multiple times. House. And so I just turned around immediately, and I just went right back the way I came in, and went back into that maze of hallways. But the last one, though, that one was the freakiest. I went through this one door where it almost looked just like a hotel lobby. And you get up to this like a security guard guy, and there was this like doorway with a big curtain hanging, and you can barely see between the curtain, the little gap, and it just was like a big like a tube slide, like a big, huge, really wide, glowing with like energy. Tube slide just going straight down. And I asked that guard where that tube led to, and I remember this guard stating that he couldn't tell me, but that if I wanted to just go down the tube to see what it was, that I had the free will to do that. So I decided to, of course, this whole out-of-body experience was already perplexing and, weird and kind of scary and all that stuff. And I kind of knew that my experience was starting to end because I was starting to just feel that pull back to my physical body at that time. So I kind of hurried and just went down that tube slide. And it went down a few stories or something like that, not too far down. And I ended up in this huge, like underground room, and there was this kind of little bridge thing going across this moat or something. And on the other side of that bridge, there was like a little temple. Not a little temple. It was, a few stories tall or whatnot. Kind of reminded me of like the Mayan temples, stuff like that. And there was this very ugly-looking demonic being. It was kind of tall, maybe, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 feet tall, maybe twice my height. And this being was taking young people, young people, and was eating them, was devouring them. That was a little traumatic. As you can tell, like right now, it's kind of hard to talk about it, because I don't like to, I don't want to dwell like on too much of the negativity and stuff, right? And try to keep things positive. But that was a very scary experience. And then when I noticed that, I was kind of mad at that security guard because he kind of set me up to see something like that. But anyway, so I felt the pull of my physical body, so I just went back, home base. So that's my code word for just going back to my physical body to integrate fully into the human body with my consciousness. And then you find yourself in your body. Your body's paralyzed, and you start moving your fingers and your toes around after a little bit, and you start to get that full integration back into the human body. So that was my mystery door story. I didn't know I would take so long on this story. It's like 13 minutes in. I'm sorry, but why not keep going? So in this next story, it's called Ghost Being, and in this one, I'll try to really cut to the chase on this one, get to the point of the story. So some time ago, as you know, with some of my other videos, I've experimented with mirrors and astral projection. And so this was one of those times where I went to sleep maybe 11 o'clock at night, and I woke up at maybe 4:30 in the morning. I went to the bathroom, was up for a few minutes, and then I went back to my room. I did a few minute meditation, and then I went up and I took my mirror and I put it in front of my bed. It was a larger mirror. I was able to angle the mirror, and I just had I angled it a certain way, and I just kind of put it in a random spot at the foot of my bed. and then when I was getting out of body, I wasn't expecting to get out of body, but it just lined up that way, and it just happened, and I just kind of went with the flow. And I remember it wasn't that I really intended to do it, but I just basically kind of it's almost like I projected out of body and projected into that mirror, but then I bounced, and so I went into the mirror. I bounced off the mirror, and I bounced really high up into the sky. And it was a full moon that night. It was a beautiful, bright full moon. And so when you're out of body in the real time zone, especially on a full moon, the moon looks really truly amazing. Very energetic, bright. But anyways, bounced off the mirror. Went up really high into the sky. It almost felt like I touched the moon. It almost felt like I then bounced off the moon or something. It was the weirdest thing. And then I came down into just a random city. At first, I didn't know where I was. Then after a moment, I started talking to some of the. Then I understood. These were just ghosts, just etheric beings, etheric zone, but within the real time zone of this physical reality. And I started talking to some of these ghosts. Right, these people already died. They were just roaming through this town. This is a small town. And I was like, where am I? What town is this? And then one of the beings said, you're in Eden, Ohio. Eden, Ohio. 4 letters. I had never heard of Eden, Ohio before, so I obviously researched that after my experience, and then found out it's a small town in Ohio. And so I'm kind of just moving around, and I get to talk to a couple of those ghost beings, and then this younger woman, an older teenager, younger woman age demographic, came up to me with a hood on over her head, black, wearing all black with a black hood. She didn't look like she was doing too good, to be honest with you. And she asked me to follow her because she wanted to show me something. And so at first I was a little hesitant. I didn't know what to do at that time, but for whatever reason, actually I didn't know what to do. I was going to walk away from that. This ghost being this younger girl ghost being. I was going to walk away from it because I didn't trust it. But then there was this other being that just came walking down the street, like maybe 100 feet away, and he was holding a sign, like a rectangular sign, and it was kind of built in to his abdomen and chest area. It was like part of his body or something, you know. Like he was literally like infused into the being's body. It was weird. And the sign said, "Sign." SIGN, sign. And I'm like, wait, that's weird. You know, what are the odds of that, right? And so I took it as a sign, literally. And so I followed this young girl with the hoodie on, and we walked through this Eden, Ohio, this small town that has 1,000 people or something, 2,000 people. And we walked over to the total edge of town next to the countryside, and there's a property, and we get to this house, and then she points at this little shed, like a back little house thing, way in the back of the property, right on the fence behind, right in front of the property line. And so we go over there, and she has the door open, kind of so I could see inside this shed, and there's wooden floorboards, on the bottom, and she points down there and says, "Look down there." And I'm looking, and at first I'm not really noticing anything, but then as I look deeper, I see this big body bag, with what seems like a body. A dead body in the bag underneath the floorboards of this shed. And honestly, I'm not sure if this younger woman, I'm honestly not sure if she was pointing to her own body, like how she died, and she was saying, "Please help me." But at the same time, though, I keep thinking that she was just showing me some other dead body of somebody that she knew or was associated with, or they never found the body or something like that. So I'm not exactly sure if it's that way, or I'm not sure what exactly it was. But then she just help me, and then I just remember in that OBE looking over at her, and she kind of puts the hoodie back a little bit. I can see her face more. And I'm like, what do you expect me to do? Call Ohio? You know what I mean? What am I supposed to do? Come out of an OBE and call the mayor of Eden, Ohio, or call a senator or something? Police department. I would sound like a whack job. So I just obviously, when I came out of that whole experience, I just kind of let it go and didn't really talk about it much. I think this is only the third or fourth time I've mentioned that